How did you get your first wholesaling deal?
My first wholesale deal, man, I was actually driving around. I was a pizza delivery driver, right? So I was driving around, and I had, rather than listen to music, I was like, yeah, let me educate myself, right? So this is when I'm like 21, 22,
Mm-hmm.
still like, just turned legal, right? I was like, man, I gotta do something with my life. So rather than just partying and just, doing all that crazy stuff, I was like, man, I gotta make some money. I gotta make some serious money. And I know the most millionaires are made in real estate, right? As you know. So I was like, man, let me go on YouTube and let me type in how to make money in real estate, right? So I found a guy named Brent Daniels, TTP, right? He says talk to more people. So I watched, a few of his videos, and he basically broke it down to where, hey, all you have to do is just buy a list and use his script. His script was like, hey, I'm a local investor in the area. I'm looking to buy some properties and target distressed homeowners. So that's what I did with $300. My first check, like one of my paychecks that I made from my pizza delivery driving, I was like, hey, let me just buy a list. So I bought a list for $300 and started calling on my free time. And 8 months in, I got my first deal, right? But 8 months I wasn't getting any traction, right? I was just consistent with it. That's what
Yeah.
that's what the thing is, man. You got to be consistent whatever you do. So 8 months in, I'm just calling every day, just calling for like 4 or 5 hours a day. After those 8 months, I got my first deal and I made $2,000, right? But it wasn't about the money; it was about the concept. Once
Mm-hmm.
I understood the concept, hey, this is a proven concept. It works. Guess what you do then? You go all in. So that's what I did, man. I just went all in. Started, getting oversee virtual assistants. Started putting a team, and then next thing you know, my second year I did like 40,000. Third year I hit my first six figures, and then after that it was just building an office. Now I have a 20-man team. I have six acquisitions in house where I don't make a single call. My team makes calls for me, and each acquisition actually brings you $500,000 a year in assignments. So now I'm just scaling that operation up, And then the way I market is through cold calling. So I just buy lists. I buy about 100, 200K records a month. I'll have cold callers call that list and bring me warm leads. So once the warm leads come in, goes to my acquisition where he basically builds rapport, negotiates a price that's fair for both parties, and then gets under contract. Once he gets under contract, we put it on an investor lift. That's the platform where you get all the cash buyers, right? So that's where we list it, and then we get property sold. You know,
What made you? Because I'm sure you thought about it. Maybe what made you go into wholesaling other than like brokering? Because I'm sure you saw that option. And what made you go with wholesaling?
So when I typed in on Google, on YouTube, I was like, hey, how do I, get into real estate? You know, I was actually looking to become an agent. But then I found Brent Daniels, and he said, hey, you don't need a license. You don't even need a college education. You could get into selling properties. It's not, real estate wholesaling is not a real estate company. It's a sales and marketing company, right? So I was like, let me look into it. Originally I wanted to get my license. But then once I got into wholesaling, where I was like, hey, let me just give this a shot before I get my license. And then it just started working for me, man. I just started making calls. And once I got my first contract, I was like, hey, let me just go all in this. Yeah.
Okay. And I feel like when I see it on social media, the first guy I've seen it was like some Asian guy in like a exotic car.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
talking about? I can't remember his name.
King Kong.
King, yeah.
Yeah, King
And
Kong.
you were making a video with him, right?
Yeah, King Kong. I got on his podcast, and I actually did a one assignment fee that I made $102,000 on. So
Yeah,
one transaction, I made 102,000, and it's a very impressive deal.
definitely.
I'm saying, six figures on one deal, and that actually got me the momentum, right? So I got into a lot of podcasts, started talking about the deal, how I acquired the deal, and it was the same thing. I used cold callers from akcallers.com, right? They have virtual assistants that are fully trained, so I get cold callers from them, and then I've used the dialer. It's called Ready Mode,
Mm-hmm.
right? ReadyMode.com, and I just dump in the data into the dialer, and I have the cold callers call that data, and then after that, I just talk to the warm leads, right? I'm talking to motivated sellers. Rather than wasting 8 hours of my time cold calling, I'm talking to the hot leads, people that actually want to sell their property. And now it's a better conversation. The conversation lasts longer than 5 minutes, rather than just cold calling and just getting rejected day in, day out,
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. It saves a lot of time because I think cold calling is time consuming
Yeah, it's
and
very time consuming, as you know, man.
and
For
it's not
agents,
pleasant.
yeah, 100%. It's very time consuming. The thing is, people actually get discouraged when they keep getting rejected that many times.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I got rejected for 8 months. A lot of people don't stay in the business for that long. They're
Definitely.
like, dude, it's not working. So I just had a desire. I was like, dude, people are making money. I know it's it's real because I see other people on YouTube doing it. I just need to know for myself if it works. And if you just stay consistent in anything that you do, man, you're gonna make money, right? Even like being a loan officer. Your first few months, you're like, hey, this doesn't work. I'm not getting any traction. But yeah, as long as you post on social media, you do a lot of outreach, you go to events, network, and then eventually you get that traction. So
100%. And I think a lot of people get discouraged, especially I've seen it more so with real estate agents. I think there's not as many loan officers as real estate agents, but people don't like. I love that you said it's not about the money; it's about the concept, right? It's about okay, yeah, you spent 8 months getting that one deal, but if that deal only took you a couple hours to get, or a day to get, or a week, or whatever, it's about the kind of like the power of being able to make more and less, right? Like making 102K in one deal, whereas if you're not willing to go through those 8 months not getting paid, then you're not gonna get that kind of pay in the future because you need to learn for the most part. You can't just go into it thinking, oh, my first year I'm gonna make six figures. You could
yeah.
if you have coaching, if you have the right team, you could. And mentorship is important, and that's why, like I've been doing pretty good because of the coaching that I get here. Um,
Mentorship actually helps you skip those hurdles, right? In the beginning, we don't have the funds to get a mentor, right? Like especially in wholesaling, it costs five, $10,000, $20,000 to get mentored by someone that's in the higher level than you, right? Because they don't teach for free. The only way you're gonna learn for free is YouTube, right? So that's what it was for me. I was learning stuff for free on YouTube. The whole 8 months, it wasn't that I'm just calling. I'm actually educating myself in those 8 months. So whatever you do, like, it could be wholesaling, fixing and flipping. When I got started, it was like first is the educational trial, right? Where you're just going through the whole education cycle. Once you're done with education, then you start taking action, right? When you start taking action, then you get results. That's like a whole cycle in any business, I feel like.
and what do you want to get into in the future?
Man, right now I have 9 companies that are doing 6 to 7 figures. So I'm in real estate wholesaling, and all my businesses are around real estate. So I do fix and flips, Airbnb. I have rentals, Section 8s. We're doing, we just partnered up with staffing agencies. We're doing, we have our own CRM now. I have a rideshare company. I have about 73 cars. I have my own repair shop, my own property management. So all this stuff is just around the real estate, just business in general. So what I want to do is, one of my mentors now, he has 38 companies. Yeah, 7 to 8 figure companies. So what he told me is, like, it's the same concept. Business is not, anything different than what you have going on right now. With the correct systems, processes, and people, you could delegate and automate any company. So I took that concept and I just keep, recycling it, just rinse and repeat. So same thing with wholesaling, rideshare, with the correct systems, right? The systems as in, what CRM are you using, right? Because that's the hub of the company, right? Where are your data's coming? Where's your data coming from, right? Where is it getting stored? That's your system, processes, your SOPs, right? Standard operating procedures, right? Roles and responsibilities for those operations, right? And then putting people in place so you could take yourself out that position. Like, suppose when you first get started, in wholesaling, you're the cold caller, you're the lead manager, you're doing all the follow-ups, you're the one sending the agreements, you're the one talking to attorneys, talking to title companies, talking to the buyer, making sure the buyer and the seller have come to a agreement. You have escrow coming in. It's like a whole, EMDs coming in. You have this whole process, and you're the one that's taking care of everything right in the beginning. But once you make a little bit of money, you gotta start delegating. So that's what I did, man. I started delegating in all my companies. And that's how you start automating a company and start moving forward, moving to the next company and the next company. So that's how my mentor got 38 companies, man.
So I've seen you talk about Airbnb arbitrage. Like, for the people that don't know what that is, what is that?
Airbnb arbitrage is basically you're leveraging someone else's property and making a profit on there. So I'll give you an example. Suppose you're a landlord, right? You have a property that's vacant, right? You're getting for this example, you're getting $1,000 a month for this property, right? If you rented it out to a regular tenant. If you go to AirDNA and you type that property address in, if it some properties, they don't bring that much, some properties do, and especially in the Chicagoland area and the Texas area, it's really good, right? So what you do, you type in that property address on AirDNA, and it'll tell you how much it's going to bring. The properties that I look for, at least 2x to a 5x return. So that $1,000, if I can make $2,000, a 2x return, now the landlord's gonna make $1,000 and I'll make $1,000. So I'll rent that property from you, right? I'll furnish the property, and then I'll rent it out to and I'll put it on Airbnb. So they'll give me a 2x, 3x, 5x return, where I'm leveraging your asset that costs you 100,000 for this example, right? You purchased it for 100,000, and you just want $1,000 a month. You're like, hey, I just want to rent it out. I just want 1,000. Okay, cool. I'll give you 1,000, and I'll basically arbitrage it and make money on top of it.
So how do you source those deals?
So you could go to Zillow, Redfin, and what I do is if you go to propstream.com, you could just go to landlords, the landlord section, or batch leads. Those two are the platforms that we use, where you just basically buy a list of landlords in that certain area, and you start calling them. Hey, landlord, how's it going? Right? Hey, Mr. Landlord, how you doing? I'm actually a Airbnb investor. I was wondering if you have any vacant properties. If you do, I'm willing to rent the properties from you, right, at a higher price. So even if you give me $100 more a month, what do you give it to, or $200 more? Would he give it to you or the second person that's paying him less? Because landlords, they're in it for the ROI, right? They're a cap rate. They're like, hey, we need this certain amount. This is what the market is asking for. This is what the market rate is. I need this much, right? For this example, $1,000, right? I need $1,000. Now, if you go to Airbnb and Airbnb is telling you from the comparables that this property could bring you $3,000, you're gonna be like, hey, Mr. Landlord, I'll give you $1,200 if you give it to me, you know? So that's what it is.
Okay. And like, I guess for like, do you need a license for that? Or
You
no?
don't.
For
You do
Airbnb?
need, you don't need a license.
Really?
Yeah. There's a lot of regulations though, but you do need like a permit, right? Where you just go to the city of Chicago and they'll give you a permit, and you have to register each property. But there's no license for it. You don't need any like qualifications. There's no tests that need to be taken. So yeah.
Dang. So, I mean, so do you own any investment properties, or you just kind of like middleman it?
So for the Airbnb side, it's just all arbitrage. But I do have rentals of my own. I have about 32 rentals, and the rentals that I have, they're all in the hood, right? They're all on the south side of Chicago, and they're mostly Section 8, where it's just a guaranteed income from the government. Because those are rougher areas. Tenants usually give you a lot of problems in the areas, when I first got started. So I was like, man, I don't want to deal with tenants. I don't have time to deal with tenants, right? So that's why we just go the Section 8 route. And it's just a guaranteed income.
For sure. I mean, I started off as a leasing agent, and there was this. I represented an investor, and we found like on paper, like this perfect tenant, like not even halfway through the year, already making 6 figures, 700 plus credit score, has this much in the bank, but then they stop paying, right? But with Section 8, it's guaranteed. So
that's what it is, man.
A lot of people discriminated, but money doesn't discriminate, you know?
That's what it is, man. As an investor, you just want to go to ROI. You just want your money on time, right? So I don't care if it's a, Section 8 or regular, tenant. As long as I get my money on time, that's what matters, right? But when you come to a regular tenant, especially in those neighborhoods, it's hard to get your money, right? Either they're not paying on time, or there's, they're trying to do half payments, or they don't pay at all, right? With Section 8, it's guaranteed. So I'd rather go the guaranteed route than, get hassled for my money, so.
And then the ride sharing, what is that?
So ride sharing is what I do for that is I buy fuel efficient vehicles, Toyota Camrys, Toyota Priuses, fuel efficient vehicles, anything under 15,000, right? So once I buy that, then I put it on my website and I run ads to it to where it's like, hey, are you looking for an opportunity? Are you looking to make $1,000 to $2,000 a month? If you are, all you need is a valid driver's license, right? You have to be over 23 years old, and that's pretty much it. So once they get the car from us, they could go on Uber, Lyft, they could do food deliveries, personal uses. We have travel nurses, like stuff like that you can rent a car from us for anywhere from $250 to $300 per week. So we're making about $1,000 a month on a car that costs less, under 15,000. So the ROI on that, within a year, you get your money back, right?
Okay.
And after that, you're just cash flowing a good amount of money.
Out of all your businesses, which one do you think is like the most, like which one's your biggest one?
Well, the one I got started in that made me who I am today is wholesaling, and I still do it to this day, right? So with wholesaling, I only got started with a few $100s, right? With the other businesses, you need capital. You need money to make money in those businesses, right? With the rideshare, you need 15,000. With the Airbnb, you need 7,000 for the furnishing. With fixing and flipping, you need $100,000. Because the thing is, I don't take any loans. In my religion, we don't take any interest. We don't take any loans. So everything that I do is all cash. So the way I build my cash was through wholesaling real estate, right? So I built all my capital through wholesaling, and then from there I diversified. So, if I told anyone to get into a business, it would be wholesaling real estate, because all you have to do is just buy a list, start cold calling, and if they want a script, they could just follow me on iHustleBro and just DM me like, hey, can I get your script? Dude, I give my script for free. You can find it on my website. You can find it on my social media. You can find it on Facebook, Instagram. It's everywhere. Because I want people like, hey, use the script and start calling, right? It gave me the financial freedom that I got today, So I was like, hey, if it helps you guys provide food for your family, hey, I feel like it's a good deed that I'm doing, just helping people get into that.
So I mean, you think you could if let's say you have to start from scratch, right? No cold callers, no nothing. How soon do you think you could get your first deal?
Now that I'm kind of gonna, if I have, because the thing is, knowledge is power, right? So the knowledge that I have now, I could get a deal tomorrow, within 24 hours. So all I know is just go there, call a list, start cold calling. The first thing I would do is call a vacant list, right? Vacant list is a great list. Code violation is a great list. Absentee owner is a great list. Any of those three, pick up a list, start calling. Hit the phones for 8 hours. You're gonna get a deal.
You think that would work for agents as well?
For agents can wholesale. I have agents that wholesale.
No, but I'm saying like they could use that same
script.
Database.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of agents, they're afraid of a cold call for whatever
That's
reason.
what it is. They think it's like it's petty work or it's tedious.
Salesman.
Yeah. It's like, hey, that's not. We got a license. We're above that, but that's how you make money, through cold calling. So it's like, how else are you gonna get leads? You can get leads through social media, Facebook. You go to events, but if you really want to get leads, you got to go direct to the homeowner, right? And so I feel like cold calling is the best way of direct marketing. Go direct to the homeowner, talk to them. Hey, how's it going? I'm an agent. Just wanted to see if you wanted to list your property, if you were interested in selling. If you are interested in selling, I'm a realtor, and we could get this stuff, I could get the property. I could help you sell the property, So it's like anyone could do this, man. Cold calling has been around for ages now. You could sell solar. You could sell insurance. You could, buy and sell properties. What can't you do? You can even do it for loans, You could call landlords and be like, hey, how's it going? Are you looking for another property? I could get you pre-approved, this and this and this, and I can help you find a property as well. So now you help them get the loan, and you find a distressed property for them where they could fix it and flip it or keep it as a rental, So.
Do you like cold calling?
I don't cold call anymore, but man, I had to do what I had to do. Nobody likes cold calling. Realtors hate cold calling. Investors hate cold calling. Wholesalers hate cold calling. But you have to cold call. If you don't want to cold call, then you're not gonna get any deals. So if you want to make money, you have to cold call.
Do you have a real estate license or no?
No, I don't have a license.
But I think it would be good to have it. Or no?
Yes, yeah, it'll be good to have it. But my brother, we already have a license in our team. So it's like, just in case we want to list a property after we do a fix and flip or something, just in case we want MLS access, we have someone in our team that could give us that access.
Yeah, I remember seeing you do fix and flips. What has been your most profitable flip?
My most all my flips that I do, they're all 6-figure flips. So I make over $100,000 on a flip. And the way I make it is because I'm a wholesaler, right? So if you want to be a fix and flipper, you want to buy rentals, whatever you want to do in real estate, everything starts from wholesaling. Because you go direct to the homeowner, you go direct to the seller, and if the deal's too good to be true, right, or too good to be sold, you take it down for yourself, right? So if I lock something up in Inglewood for $25,000, where I know properties are selling for $250,000 over there, right? So I'm gonna be like, okay, how much work does it need? It needs about $100K worth of work. I got it for 25. I'm in it for 125. After closing costs, realtor fees, A to Z, I should still make $100,000 on this deal, right? So that's, it's a good deal. So it's a 6-figure spread. So I'll take it down myself. But I only get those deals because I'm a wholesaler, because I go direct. If you found that same deal on the MLS, it'd be like 80,000, right? Where people, homeowners just trying to sell for 80,000, where the wholesaler or the homeowner's trying to make whatever he's trying to make. And even if you fix it and flip it, and there's so many investors, overbidding on those properties where there's only less than a 50K spread. A lot of fix and flippers don't make more than 50,000. Yeah, I know fix and flippers that are making 30K. After 3-4 months worth of work, they're making 30K, which is like, it's good money, but it doesn't make sense to me, Yeah. Because it takes the same amount of time to make 10,000, and it takes the same amount of time to make 100,000. It just depends on which product you're gonna focus on, which deal you're going to take down, you know, because it takes 2-3 months regardless, right? So
And I had a question. So you said your religion says that you can't take out loans. So you're Muslim?
yeah, Muslim.
I didn't know that it said that.
Yeah, it's called the riba. You can't take interest. Yeah, it's forbidden in our language. The reason why they say that is because suppose you take $5 million loan, right? Just an example, right? Now you took a $5 million loan, you bought some properties, right? And you have $4 million worth of debt, debt on the property. Imagine something happens to you. Now that debt gets passed down to your wife, your kids. Imagine you have wife and kids, right? Your family, and they don't know anything about the real estate. They don't know anything about it because they're not in the business, right? They might be housewives or doing other things, right? So now, because you're not present, that loan gets transferred to them, and now they're liable. They're responsible for all this, for the loan, and it messes up their credit and their liveliness.
Yeah, and they could lose the house. I mean,
Yeah, lose the house. You could, so it's like, does it make sense? So it says in our Quran, it says in our, in our book, in our Bible that we can't do it. So it's like whatever it says there, it's like I just follow it, right? Like it says, pray 5 times, be a good person. I feel like the Bible and the Quran, the Torah, they all have the same things that's written inside of it. Just different, a little different twist to it, but it's all the same stuff if you look into it.
So I saw you made a video that said you got into it when you were like 20.
Yeah, 22.
So how did you discover that?
Got into
like the Quran. Like you made a video saying that you it changed your life.
I was born Muslim, right? I was born Muslim. I was always reading the Quran when I was younger, but I took my faith seriously when I was like, soon after high school. It's like 18, 20 years old. Like 20 years old when I realized, because I went to a 4-month, we called it a 4-month center where you just go there and all you do is just learn about the religion. Right, you go to the mosque, you meet people and stuff like that, So that's what I did. I went away for 4 months, and I sat at the mosque and I started studying my religion. So that's what changed. That's what gave me the understanding of my religion. I feel like every person that is religious, they need to understand what the book says, right? What the holy book says. So that's what I did, man. I studied it, and then I knew what the do's and don'ts were, right? So I just took that, and I was like, okay, I know what to do, what not to do, because everyone knows what to do and what not to do. Right, so it's just like once you learn that, then it just helps you further in your in your life. So that's what I did.
So how did it change your life?
For the better, man. It made me more pious, made me more down to earth. Cause man, I was it was like I really didn't have a right direction. So I didn't know what to do. Cause you can when you're young, you want to party, have fun, go out, do all this stuff, right? You don't have a direction. So I feel like I needed that to bring me back to faith, so I could have a clear understanding of what life's real purpose is, and with that, and also like help me as an individual. And then after I did that, I feel like it, I just focus on my business, focus on myself, my family, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I've been wanting to visit a mosque. Like I don't have my phone on me, but I've been like pretty much. I never read it completely, but kind of like I told my girlfriend recently this too, that part of the reason why I'm here is because of the Quran. Like even though obviously I'm Hispanic, so you probably wouldn't expect that, but I felt like how you said, like lost and no direction, and then I felt like I didn't really have people on my side. Like I didn't have anyone, and then I just kind of like I don't know how to describe it, like, but I just felt like it felt soothing. Like
that's beautiful.
Like it gave me peace. Like because I remember like I just felt like. So obviously now I'm a real estate loan officer, but I was working at Chick-fil-A, and I had just dropped out of college, and I was like, I wanted to be a barber. I tried it, and I was like, no, that's not it. Like, and then I tried join the military, but I chickened out. Like, so I was like, man, like, what am I gonna do with myself? I just felt lost, and then I kind of figured like I started getting into stocks, and that's kind of when I learned that I had like a passion for business. And so I became a real estate agent, not because I wanted to be a real estate agent, but because I wanted to be some kind of businessman. That's part of like my identity, that I do business. That's who I am. So like that's how I ended up being a loan officer, because I always like learning, and I was like, well, why would I limit myself to being an agent when I seen people do it, and I was like, I don't know, I feel like I could do that.
Right.
And then so I got into it, and then recently, I think I might put a pause to it, but I started studying securities.
Mm.
And I thought about dabbling in that, but it all happened just because I got into that and kind of like,
That's what's up, man.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what it did for me too, man. Peace and clarity
Mm-hmm.
and direction. You know, so that's what the Quran did for me, man. That's why I feel like every single one of us should have a deeper understanding of our religion and also have that faith that hey, there's only one God, and you can't control what you can't control, right? Just leave it up to Him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just wake up every day and just go hard every day. You know, because man, us waking up tomorrow is not guaranteed, right? I feel like that's the biggest blessing we have is us waking up, right? Like you and me, we woke up today. There's a lot of people that didn't wake up today, right? So us waking up is the biggest blessing. Everything else is second. Us having nice watches, a Rolex, nice suit, driving nice cars, our family, our friends, our businesses, that's all second, right? Us waking up and, thanking God that He gave us today is the biggest blessing, bro.
For sure, 100%. Yeah. What about like your background? Where did you grow up in here in Illinois? Or?
Yeah, man. My parents are actually immigrants, right?
Mm-hmm.
My parents, my dad came out here when he was in his 20s. He wanted a better education for us, right? He wanted to have because there's land of opportunity, right? America's a land of opportunity. So that's why he came out here, right?
Mm-hmm.
He came out here. And when he came, he used to work 3 jobs. He used to deliver newspapers in the morning. He used to work at a restaurant, cleaning bathrooms and doing all this stuff, right? Working at a restaurant and then also driving a taxi cab at night, right? So he's working 3 jobs while going to school, right? So, having that hustle mentality, and I was actually in a 1-bedroom apartment for 8 years of my life. So it was me, my 3 younger brothers, my mom, and my dad. So my dad had, to work really hard to, provide for the family, right? And then, there's just like seeing my dad not so much because he's always working and, started, doing all this stuff. So it gave me a different type of hustle. I was like, dude, I see my dad working 3, 4 jobs. I was like, dude, when I grow up, I want to do the same thing, right? I want to have the same drive. So as soon as I turned 14, I got into the hustling, right? I started hustling at a cell phone shop. I started selling T-shirts, started getting like little gigs, right? Just to like bring some money to my family, right? And yeah, man, that's all started there. All started there, and then after I graduated high school, I got into IT, and I actually got a 6-figure job in IT. I'm a business analyst, right? So I was getting a nice paycheck. But what it was, man, even if you're making $125,000 a year, after taxes, after all the expenses, you're only making $70K. Now you have expenses, right? You have to pay rent, this, that, food, and if you want to go shopping for some nice clothes, you have nothing to show for it, right? It's like, what are you left with? 10, 20, 30,000 a year, right? It's not really that much. You can't get financially free from that. You can't get rich. You go on one vacation, you spend $10,000, that's it. You're broke again, So I was like, there has to be another way. So I left that IT job, and then I came back home, and I was like, dude, I got to do something, That's how I discovered real estate, So, yeah. While I was delivering pizzas, I was educating myself in real estate.
What do you teach on your course?
Everything, man. How to wholesale real estate, how to fix and flip, Airbnb. It's called Elite Flippers. So we'll show you how to become an elite flipper, Flipping contracts, flipping real estate, how just like, making money in real estate in general. There's multiple ways to make money in real estate, right? So it's like, that's what we teach. And I have about 170 students right now that I'm teaching. Yeah.
And I saw that one that you...
Yeah, one of my elite students right now, he made 150,000 in the past 5 months flipping contracts, right? My other student, he made 65,000 in 1 month. I have another student that made 40,000 in 3 months. So I got students, man, I got testimonials for days because what I teach it's just a copy and paste of what I did, right? So it's like you're just copying and pasting my business, my exact model, where I get my cold callers from, what scripts I use, what contracts I use, where I get my data from, what CRM I use, what are my systems and processes, A to Z, right? You just copy it. If it works for me, it's going to work for them, right? So that's what I teach. The crazy thing was one of my buddies, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were doing option trading, right? So I gave him some money to option trade. We got to $100,000, and then he passed away, right? Yeah, so I lost all my money in stocks. I really didn't know much about stocks and options. It's just I knew someone that did it, and I invested with him, but then he passed away at 31 years old, and
Sorry to hear that.
yeah. But crypto, I put a little money in crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, Sheep, like all this stuff. I got a few $1,000s just laying around, in those platforms.
Which one is your biggest one?
Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin for sure.
Yeah,
I
that's the
mean,
king. That's the king of
it's always gonna
the
be.
cryptocurrency. So, I think it's at 43,000 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
If I would only buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, anything else, just for fun,
yeah.
right? Maybe, but like seriously, only Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I think, for example, like stuff will pop up like Solana,
Yeah.
and then when you really look into it, it's like not
It's
really.
under, yeah. It's under like the Ethereum platform.
Yeah, exactly,
You know?
right. So it's
just like,
like, why not just buy Ethereum?
yeah.
And the way I don't understand it, crypto's like complicated, but from what I understand is Ethereum can like somehow be changed. Like it's not like Bitcoin, where Bitcoin is always gonna be Bitcoin, and they can't like change it and like make it more modern. Whereas with Ethereum, like it could always change. But like it's this first like smart coin or whatever. Like I don't know. Like I said, I don't understand crypto.
Yeah. I just put money into it, man, because I have a friend of mine. He's really big into crypto, and he has like I don't know, like 6 bitcoins, and he's been doing it since like 2017. And he always tells me, hey, it's gonna go up now, this and that. So he's like, yo, put some money here. So I put like a few thousand here and there, every now and then. So it's just like additional. I wouldn't call it a stream of income because I don't make any money from it. It's just like I would call it like what is it? It's like how those banks have savings. It's like a savings account. That's what I would call it.
I know.
So I feel like Bitcoin is a savings account rather than a passive stream of income. So
yeah, for sure, you're not gonna get rich off of investing, I mean, you could, right? But it's gonna be very difficult, and I think the best thing you could do is invest in yourself instead of investing into an asset, right?
100%, man, because you are the biggest investment. That's what I tell everybody. If you want to invest in yourself, invest in educating yourself. You go to school, educate yourself that way, or you could take courses. There's so many crash courses that you could take, like get into wholesaling. There's Airbnb courses, rideshare courses, fixing and flipping courses. There's so many courses out there. That's what I did. I took those courses, understood the concept, produced, performed, got results, and then that's made me who I am today.
Have you ever tried e-commerce?
Yeah, I did try e-commerce. I tried e-commerce a few years back. I made some money from it. It's good, but thing is, you always gotta find that product, right? It only lasts so long. Suppose you're selling, unless you have like your own brand, right? So it's like suppose you have your own Thai brand. You brand it, you market it. You're gonna make some money online. But usually for the e-coms that we're doing like Amazon stores. I had an Amazon store. I had where we're just buying products, shipping the products, and it's always looking for the next high. So it's just like when it runs out, you gotta find something else. When it runs out, you gotta find something else. So it's like.
That's from what I've seen. It's like you gotta find like the trending products and then try to sell them. In which a lot of people are doing good off of TikTok now because it blows up organically. Yeah. Like which one is your biggest platform?
My biggest platform, man, they're all decent, man. I get leads from everywhere. Facebook's hot, Instagram's hot, TikTok not so much. Same thing with LinkedIn, not so much traction there. I think Facebook and Instagram. And YouTube, man. YouTube's good.
YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube Shorts are going crazy right now.
Yeah, YouTube, I think is a great platform. I think
it's a long-term play because it's connected with Google, so it's like a Google search. YouTube is second to Google search, right? So Google is number one when you're searching up something to do or something to find, or if you want to, even a video, right? For videos, you go to YouTube. For like actual context, you go to Google. So it's like it's right under. YouTube is right under Google. So it's like those two platforms are never gonna go away. It's great for SEO. So and they go hand in hand. So it's like, if Google's the biggest platform, I need to be on YouTube. That's the second biggest platform. So we're going heavy on that. My content team's creating content every day, and we're dropping. You got to drop on all platforms because suppose you're active on Facebook, right? You have a certain audience that just goes to Facebook. Then you have a certain audience that goes just on Instagram, and a certain audience that goes to Twitter. So it's just like you have to be on every single platform so you get a different breed of audience, and then they're all leads, right? So.
You said you have a real estate agent in the office?
Yeah.
You said it was your brother? Or
yeah.
Who's your brother?
My brother, Abdul.
Because I know a lot of agents, so I don't know.
He's younger than me. I don't think you know him.
What company is he with?
He's with William Realty.
Where's that based out of?
somewhere in Chicago.
Okay.
It's a guy who has his own brokerage,
Mm.
and then he has like 1 or 2 agents under him. He
Okay.
actually works for us. He does all the listings, and if you want to go see a property, he'll go on the field and do all that stuff. So, thing is, I don't use a big brokerage. I use a guy that has his own brokerage, someone smaller, so then he's more active. So
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter what company you're with.
yeah,
It's
doesn't
about the
yeah, it's
individual.
about the hustle, man.
Yeah.
You could be with the biggest company. What's the biggest company? App Properties or
Mm-hmm.
Keller Williams. You could be with the biggest company, but if you don't have to hustle in you, it doesn't really matter who you're with.
Yeah.
So.
Dang, so never gonna be a real estate agent? I feel like you'd be good.
Man, if I need it, I'll get it. But it's like we have it in the family, so there's no need for it.
True. But I don't know. I think the coolest thing from being an agent is the listings. I think I didn't mean the word coolest, but the being a buyer's agent can be really time consuming. You gotta show all the properties, right? Especially if you have a very strong brand, they want you showing the property. They don't want your team showing the property. Sometimes they're open to it, right? But especially once you're dealing with a more sophisticated client, they're gonna want you there. Or if you have a listing, the seller's gonna want you showing it, right?
Yeah.
Because you're the one who's representing him. But I think that's part of the reason why I like real estate loans, because the beauty about real estate is that it's tangible as an asset class. It's tangible, but that's also the downfall of it, in my opinion, is that it's tangible. Because with a real estate loan, it's not tangible. So I'm not selling something that I have to show you. I'm not selling something that I have to know the physical condition of. And especially once you're an agent and you're from Skokie and you find yourself showing properties in Kankakee, you know nothing about Kankakee. Then you're in Rockford, but then another time you're in North Chicago. So it's like you can't know all these things. You can't be
Right.
like, well, there's very successful agents, right? Obviously, but it's very difficult to get to that point where it's like you know it all. Like whereas with real estate loans, that's why I like it. I just need to know the loan. I don't need to know what's going on the other block, because when you're an agent, people are gonna ask you that kind of stuff. What is this block like? And if you don't live there, you're not gonna know.
Right.
So that's why I like real estate loans, and that's why I thought about getting into securities, because if you're selling something that's intangible, that has a lot more potential than even real estate. Because I mean, look at these companies that have like a $1 trillion like market cap.
Yeah.
Like they're worth that much because it's literally the securities that it's investors is buying the stock, and then those companies, a lot of times they're not even profitable, but because they have investors investing in them, they could live on for years. I think Tesla was running for like 7-8 years before even breaking profit. So that's why I like loans. It's not tangible, and like wholesaling, like it's still real estate related, but you're selling that contract. You're not selling the real estate. Or at least you are, right? That's where you make your money.
Yeah.
You're making it from assigning that contract instead of trying to sell that individual property.
Yeah. I feel like in the beginning you have to sell the sheet of paper. You have to start assigning just to build capital, right? And thing is, even if you're not trying to assign the property, you could hit a certain neighborhood. Suppose you hit 60659, right? And you're like, anything in that neighborhood, I'm willing to either take down for a rental to add to my portfolio, or I would fix and flip it. Or if you have someone that wants to fix and flip it, you have a few investors in that area, right? Even if you want to do it I have a GC, he just does it for himself. I showed him how to wholesale, and he has a certain neighborhood that he targets, and he only talks to sellers in that neighborhood, and anything that comes his way, he's just taking it down, so, either you could assign the sheet of paper, or you could talk to the homeowner, get under a contract, and just keep it for yourself. So I feel like, wholesaling is a great way to get started in real estate.
Yeah, for
to build your capital, to build your portfolio. Like the way I got 32 rentals is because of wholesaling. It's because I built so much capital to where I started taking properties down. Same thing with fixing and flipping, right? I have about 8 flips going on right now. Is because of wholesaling. When the deal's too good to be sold, I'll just take it down myself. So.
How did you find I think that's the thing that kind of like held me back from getting into wholesaling, or what I feel like most people would be afraid of, is I feel like finding the deal wouldn't be that impossible, but finding the buyer, I think that's what I would find intimidating. Like, how do I? Okay, I have this contract now. What the hell do I do with it?
Yeah, so finding a buyer, there's multiple ways to do it. There's Facebook groups that you could go to. You go to PropStream or Batch Leads, right? You could basically go to cash buyers, and what you could do is suppose it's a property in a certain zip code or a certain block. You look at, okay, what's sold in those certain block and who bought it. And what you could do, you could skip trace those buyers, give those buyers a call and let them know, hey, I actually have 123 Main Street for sale. I saw that you bought a property a mile within that property, right, with a mile radius. So now he's like, okay, cool. What's the numbers? I know you bought it for 130. I have it for 130 as well. Would you be interested? Boom, and you lock it up for 120, 110, or even 100,000. You made any $30,000 spread. You know?
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah,
That's smart.
that's one way. Another way is what we do now is investor lift, right? So investor lift, it's basically the pro version is like the pro version is $6,000. Then they have the lieutenant mode, which is 36,000, and then they have like cartel mode, cartel boss. So there's different levels to it, and each level gives you a certain amount of cash buyers. So like the lieutenant mode, which is 36,000, which is what we're on, is you have access to millions of cash buyers nationwide. So now not only you could do it in just Illinois, you could do it nationwide. So now what we're doing, we're picking up lists from Texas, Arizona, Wisconsin, Indiana, all types of stuff, right? We're just buying the list, giving to our cold callers. The cold callers are calling that cold leads, bringing the warm leads in all these states, and now we're just talking to motivated sellers. And once we get under a contract, we're putting on an investor lift and finding a cash buyer that way. So it's a really simple process when it comes to it, you know?
What is Investor Lift?
It's a platform where all the cash buyers are there.
What does it look like? Like Facebook, Instagram?
So its own software. It's called investorlift.com,
Mm-hmm.
and its own platform. The owner is Robert Wesley, I think. Robert Wesley. He's the owner of it, and he's a Harvard graduate. So he's the one that created the platform.
And you said it's how much? 36,000?
36,000 a year.
Damn.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It's well worth it, man. It's less 1-2 deals. If you're actually like taking this seriously and you want to make $1 million a year in this business, that's what you have to do. There's expenses and everything. You know, you got $36,000 for this software. Then I have all these employees, a few $100,000 there, and plus my office, this, that. So in any business, there's a profit margin, right? So in wholesaling, it's anywhere from 40 to 50% margins. So if you're making $1 million in assignments, after all the expenses, you're only making $500,000, right? So in any business, man, you know, especially actually running a business, right?
yeah, you're always gonna have overhead.
Yeah.
You're never not. I think that's why what I found attractive about being an agent, it just I looked at it as, okay, well, the course is 75 hours, right? Costs like $600. Worst thing I lose is time. I learn, become a better person, and if it's not for me, which I ended up, it actually opened up more doors, right?
Yeah.
I didn't go down that way, but at the end of the day, I learned about real estate, and you would be so surprised with how little people know about real estate, especially outside of the industry. A lot of these people don't know anything. Even as terrible as it sounds, some real estate agents don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's
the numbers
unfortunate.
were 80% of realtors actually quit their first year.
Mm-hmm.
And then 20% actually closed their first deal their first year. They only closed one deal. And then only I think 5% actually stay in the business. So if you see are actually high performing realtors that you see, there's only 5-10% of those. There's not a lot, you know? So it's 80% get washed away their first year.
Yeah.
So,
It's hard.
yeah.
It's not easy, especially it's very easy to think that once you do it, it's gonna be, you just post on Instagram or Facebook and then all the business is gonna come swarming in. You'll get some business for sure, but you're gonna have to work out there, cold call. My last real estate deal as an agent was a for sale by owner, and calling for sale by owners isn't fun. You know, they cuss you out, they talk to you they're a lot of times they're hard headed. This is funny. I'm not even an agent no more. And there's this property that's still on the market from when I was an agent. That's for sale by owner.
That's crazy.
And
Yeah.
you look at the market time, and it's literally been 2,500 something days. So calling those kind of people obviously isn't an engaging conversation. They're hard headed, and it's why do you even have your property on the market?
Yeah. You have to do what you have to do, man. You know, it's just like you said, you had to be in the trenches, calling for still by owners, and then, you know, because like you said, it's hard. You know, dealing with people, they're hard headed, they're rude, they cuss you out, but if you stay consistent, you're gonna get deals this way.
That's what has made me successful as a loan officer, is my ability to cold call and call realtors that I don't know. Like I feel if I can call for sale by owner that's gonna cuss me out, I can call any realtor because I know they're gonna keep it professional, right? Maybe sometimes I've had people where like they hung up on me or they stood me up, but they didn't talk to me in a rude way. So it's so easy to do once you get across that mental barrier of, okay, like a lot of people are scared to cold call, but I don't know how. Like it's just another person. It's literally a faceless person, and you're never gonna see him.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. It's like that's what I think of it too. Even if you mess up your first call, like for people that are cold calling their first time, your first call is gonna be horrible, right? But your second call is gonna be better than your first. Your 10th call is gonna be better than your 9th other calls, right? Your 100th call is gonna be better than your other 99.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you're 10,000 in, you're gonna be a natural, right? It's gonna be second nature. So it's just like every call just makes you better, better, and better, you know? So
I was teaching a brand new agent how to cold call. Man, it was the funniest thing ever.
Oh yeah.
This man, he called it for sale by owner, and he said, "Hey, is this the owner for so and so?" And then he says, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Hello, I would like to introduce myself. my name is."
You gotta go direct. The one thing I learned about cold calling, because I called over 100,000 people, I feel like at this point. So what I realized that what you do is go direct from where you're calling from. Like, hey, this is Abe. I'm calling from National and Fast Offer, right? Or, hey, John, this is Abe. I'm calling from National and Fast Offer. How are you doing today? Direct, straight to the point. Okay, hey, introduce, say their name, assume their name, John. Introduce yourself as in, hey, this is Abe with National Fast Offer. Where are you calling from? How are you doing today? And then you get a response. I'm good. How can I help you? I'm actually a local investor in the area. I'm looking to buy some properties. Are you interested in selling? No? Okay, have a great day. Yes? Awesome. What property address is it? Because I have a few written down here. Oh, this one? 103 Main Street? Yep, I see this one right here. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath. Is it vacant or occupied? Oh, occupied? Awesome. So are you living there or do you have a tenant in there? Okay, cool. Straight to it. That's how my script goes. Straight to it. I have a whole process, 5-step process. Where if you follow this process, you're going to get the deal.
You gotta assume their name, right?
Yeah.
That's a good one. I think that's such a little golden nugget is assume their name. Don't say, "Hey, is this John?" Just say, "Hey, John, how are you?"
Yeah.
Because then, like, they're like,
when you say, "Hey, John, how are you?" But who is this? That's what. Hey, John, this is A with National Fast Offer. How you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Now his answer's not gonna be like, "Hey, who is this?" He'll be like, "I'm good. How can I help you?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He knows Abe. He knows that we're speaking with John. He knows where you're calling from. Now you're telling him, how are you? Now his response is, I'm good. How can I help you? And now you tell him, hey, I'm local in the area. Whatever it is, even if you're selling solar, insurance, right, or loans, you could be like, I just wanted to see, I'm actually a loan officer. Just wanted to see if you were interested in any loans, or if you're calling realtors, you know this better than I do. You could be like, hey, Mr. Realtor, I'm actually a loan officer. Just wanted to see if any of your clients want a loan. We do this, and this. And you just keep me in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
Keep this lender away from, your neighborhood lender. Just keep us, first priority. So, we work fast, we work smart, and we get it done quick, whatever the case is, just straight to the point.
Yeah, straight to the point. And what I learned, my point is not to sell them on the phone. I try to push for an in-person appointment, but I part of my script is to say, hey, do you have 2 minutes to talk? No longer 2 minutes. If this call lasts longer than 2 minutes, you can hang up on me. And then I set up an appointment like 2 minutes. So then I could make in an hour, I could set up 30 appointments. Obviously, I'm not gonna get everyone on the phone, but if I did in a perfect world, I could set up 30 appointments. And especially like I said, if you realtors are very public, so I like to make it personable. So I'll be like, for example, if I approach you and you were a realtor, it's like, hey, I saw that you also do wholesaling and that you do Airbnb. That's really badass, and I would like to just talk to you about what I could do to help your business, and as well as what I do to help other agents grow, as well as myself. I think that's the biggest thing. You got to provide people value, if you're gonna sell that, because at the end of the day, that's what you're doing as a wholesaler. You're helping these people who don't know how to sell their property get sold right away. Sometimes people could think, okay, perhaps they didn't get the best deal. Obviously, if you're saying that, you're finding a property for 25K and selling the contract for 80K, obviously they're not getting the best deal. But did you help them achieve a goal, right? And that's where the value comes from, because nobody else took that effort to help them reach out. So maybe you could say, hey, whatever, you screwed them or whatever, but nobody else is targeting those people, right? A lot of, especially real estate people, they don't want to deal with those kind of properties. They want to deal with the pretty ones.
Right.
So it's providing value to people, and that's how you make money in this world.
Makes sense. Yeah, I feel like realtors, they're targeting people that have nicer houses. They're just ready to be sold on the market, right? With wholesalers, you're targeting distressed homeowners, stuff that's like you can't even put on the market. It's horrible condition. It's like fix and flippers are gonna buy it. So that's our target audience: fix and flippers, investors. So you're catering to investors rather than first-time home buyers.
For sure.
So as a wholesaler, and plus that audience that you attract, that network that you have is full of investors, flippers, stuff like that, right? So I feel like there's wholesalers and realtors. They're like two separate, industries, when it comes to it.
For sure. I think, even loans is different than real estate. Yeah. Like, obviously, I do get a lot of consumers directly coming to me, but most of my business is realtor referrals for sure. Yeah. 100%.
That's what's up.
But, yeah.